How do you find flow in work that you hate? A lot of the times we find flow and the most meaning and satisfaction in the work that we do. But one of the questions that I hear come up a lot when I talk about finding flow at work is, what do you do when you dislike the work that you have? So I'm going to talk about 5 different strategies that we can use to find more flow, even if it's in a job that you dislike. This is important because it's going to allow you to experience greater senses of meaning and satisfaction in your work and in your life overall. So let's get into the video and talk about these different strategies. The first one is to find that sweet spot of challenge versus skill. We know that flow exists in this optimal zone of challenge where you're doing 4% more than what you're currently capable of. Find this sweet spot by doing just a little bit more to push your skill level each and every day, and it's going to help you to stay in this optimal zone for flow. This is one of those flow triggers that's universally accessible. You could be flipping burgers or picking stink bugs off of potato plants, or even just entering data into a spreadsheet. Whatever it is, there are different ways to get creative around pushing your skill level to stay in that optimal zone for flow. Now, that's not the only way that we can experience flow and trigger it in our work. Step 2 is to be so good they can't ignore you. Use the other flow triggers to hack into the flow state and access it on demand in your work. Have an open mind and be experimental around which flow triggers are going to work best in your workplace and circumstances. If you need help figuring out the different flow triggers and ways to experiment with them, check out the Flow Hackers Handbook that I put together. There's a free download to this Notion template in the link in the description. I put this handbook together as a way for you to have a toolkit and strategies in place to figure out and test out the different flow triggers, whether you're going to push your concentration level, increase the skill or the challenge, set new goals, or get immediate feedback. All of this comes into play with this Hacker's Handbook, and I hope that you check it out so that it's useful for you. Now, the third strategy that we can use to find more flow, even in work that we hate, is to know the stressors and know what's in your control at work and maintain focus on what's in your control and not what's outside of your control. When we spend too much time worrying about things like the project deadlines or how your boss behaves, and the lack of support that you have at work, we start to spiral out of control, and it also pushes us out of that optimal state for flow. What we want to focus on is what's in our control. We can take action, and we can also keep our mindset sharp in order to stay positive, stay optimistic, and keep working regardless of our situation. We can't control how our boss behaves, but we can control our thoughts and our actions around that behavior. We also can't always control the deadlines that are set on the work we have to do, but we can control focusing on the work so that we have the time and the intentional effort to put towards getting those jobs done. Now, the next strategy is to go all in on community. There are a lot of group flow triggers that we can access, especially in the workplace, when we've got shared goals, we have shared feedback, balance of ego and collaboration in the workplace. There are a bunch of different triggers for group flow, and I think that the workplace is one of the best places that we can access these flow triggers. Use these group flow triggers and share them amongst your team to help form a more cohesive and collaborative bond amongst one another. Now, you may not become besties and go out for drinks after work, and that's not going to happen if you guys work remotely, but building a greater sense of community and group flow at work may be the missing part of the equation for you finding more satisfaction and meaning in the work that you do. Now, the final strategy is to just quit. If you're not getting any satisfaction out of the work that you do, you can't figure out a way to go about finding more flow and meaning there, then maybe it's time to cut the cord. I've seen too many people waste their lives away doing work that they find no satisfaction in, and ain't nobody got time for that. Following the downward slope into more misery is not the answer that you want. I know this point is a little bit of a detour from the other steps to finding more flow and meaning in our work, but sometimes it's the answer that we need to hear. Work at applying the other strategies to your situation and doing it with full intention to try to make a difference. But if you're still not getting to where you want, then maybe it's time to start making a transition. There are always going to be other options for you out there. Now, being happy at work is important for satisfaction in this area of your life, but it's not the only thing that's important. Check out this video next on why TV is killing your dreams and how to make the most out of your leisure time.